All right, welcome back. This is Mr. Flutter, and today I'm going to be talking about the three states of matter. So just to start off, we're going to talk about the three states of matter, which the main three states of matter are a solid, a liquid, and a gas. And we're going to think about those in terms of what that looks like if we were to draw a picture of it, of the three states of matter. So each of these boxes is going to represent the three states, solid, liquid, and gas. So we're looking at a gas versus a liquid and a solid. We want to talk about the way that the molecules in those states of matter are how they're situated. Let's start with a solid. If we were to look at the way that the atoms and molecules are all situated, they would be very organized, arranged, kind of locked in place. They're still vibrating slightly, but they are locked in place like that. Okay, we'll continue that for the solid. The liquid, they're going to be a little more spread out, and the way that I would describe them is they're kind of flowing around each other. So if I were to kind of slide past one another, that's why a liquid, when you pour it out, it fills the container, it flows, it has viscosity to it. So it's kind of flowing around. Gas then, gas, very spread out, moving very quickly, high amount of energy. All right, so let's talk about when we're talking about phase changes. So we know some very common phase changes that we kind of experience every single day. There's a few that maybe are not as common, and we'll talk about those. So everybody knows when we put something in the freezer, usually that's water, going from a liquid to a solid, it's called freezing. And the opposite of that, going from a solid to a liquid, it's called melting. Okay? And most of you should know that going from a liquid to a gas, it's called evaporation. And going from a gas to a liquid is called condensation. Okay? The ones that you're not as familiar with is when you go directly from a gas, and a few things do this, to a solid, it's called deposition. And going directly from a solid to a gas is called sublimation. Okay? Another thing you need to know are the terms endothermic and exothermic. When we're talking about the word endothermic, we're talking about the process that takes in heat. And the one way to remember that is the word endothermic. The prefix en, or en, it sounds like the prefix to enter. So if you think heat is entering, you think endothermic. Whereas the prefix for the other word, exothermic, that is where heat is leaving something. Exit. So heat exits. Okay? So we're going to talk about each one of these phase changes as being endothermic and exothermic. And we have 6 listed here: melting, condensation, evaporation, freezing, deposition, and sublimation. When you talk about this, there are 3 of those processes that are endothermic and 3 that are exothermic. Okay? Let's start with exothermic, where heat is exiting. Those 3 processes, those phase changes, are condensation, freezing, and deposition. So let's label those. Condensation is exo. Freezing is exothermic. And deposition is exothermic. I'm just going to use that little exo, and you know that is the full word is exothermic. And then if those are exothermic, the rest of them, melting, evaporation, and sublimation, are endo. Heat is entering them. Okay, so let's label those. Melting is endothermic, entering. Evaporation is endothermic. And lastly, sublimation is endothermic. Okay? If you can understand this basic phase change chart and the three states of matter, you will literally know approximately 20 points for your test. So really look this over, watch the video again if you need to, ask questions if you have questions. Thanks for listening. We'll see you.